Another surface type are translational surfaces, which are surfaces that are generated by sweeping profile curves along paths or rails. So I'm gonna just kind of window select all of these curves that we made before and delete that and switch back to my 4 viewports. And for this example, we're going to use the sweep 1 rail and sweep 2 rail commands. So let's look at sweep 1 rail first. For this, I'll go over to my standard tool and I'm going to draw a control point curve. So I'm just going to start this by kind of clicking to create some kind of a curve, and I'm gonna create a circle, and I'm gonna start this circle at the end point of this curve, something like that. So if we wanted to kind of sweep this profile of a circle along this curve, the first thing we'll want to do is just rotate this so that when we select this circle, I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. So I'm going to type in 90 using the gumball, and now it's not exactly tangent to this or perpendicular, but close enough for this demonstration, and we'll talk a little bit more about how to get this perfectly tangent when we start talking about construction planes in more detail. But for now, this kind of will give you the idea that we can sweep this profile or this circle along this curve, or will be our rail. So I'm gonna go back to my curve tools, or sorry, my surface tools, and select sweep 1 rail, and I'm gonna select the rail that I want to sweep, which is this curve here, and then I'm gonna select my cross-section curves, which is this circle here, and press enter. I'm gonna just leave this default and press enter, and you'll see we get this kind of dialog box that pops that pops up, and there's some different options. For now, I'm gonna just leave these as the defaults, as this kind of free-form surface, and hit OK, and you'll kind of see the result of that now we have this kind of translational surface that's been created by sweeping. If we look at another option, the sweep 2 rail command, this time we'll do something a little bit different. We'll go back to our standard curve tools, and I'm gonna create another, let's say another curve, and this time let's say I'll just kind of create 3 different curves here, and each curve has 3 control points. So if I turn my control points on and select all 3 of these curves and press enter, I'm gonna just adjust, like maybe select these 2 center control points and drag these up so that we have this kind of profile here, and maybe I'll select this one here and drag this up a little bit as well. So now we have again the same idea. Instead of having 1 rail, we're going to have 2 rails, these 2 rails, and because I drew this profile, this will be our profile, starting and ending at these endpoints of these other curves, we should be able to kind of generate a surface with that. So let's go back to our surface tools. I'm going to select sweep 2 rails. This time I'm going to select the first rail, select the second rail, and then the cross-section curve, or curves. There could actually be more than one curve, but in this example, just one curve as our cross section, and I'm going to press enter. Again, we'll see some sweep 2 rail options. I'm going to leave these default settings as they are and hit OK. And now you can kind of see that we've generated this swept surface. We can see the ISO curves on both of these. In this case, there's a lot more ISO curves on the single swept surface versus this kind of 2 rail surface. But translational surfaces are sweeping 1 and 2 rails are really useful ways to work with profile curves and rails.